Hey everyone, welcome to the Gamon Show number 7. My name is Dark Lumia, and today I'm joined by Siuss of Gaming Gaming and Dawson. Welcome, guys. Alright, so what we're going to do today is go over the latest topics and the hottest news in the Hearthstone community this week, and we're going to jump right into it with the RDU Reynad debacle that originally I thought was pretty much at an end, and then Reynad took it upon himself to call out RDU for cheating and also challenge him to a $10,000 match that would also determine the winner, quote unquote, of the past DreamHack. So, what are your thoughts on this issue at the moment, Suze? I think his pride was hurt a little bit, and I think that's why he had to attack RDU in such a way, whether you believe he cheated or not. And the thing was, he kind of threw around a bunch of accusations at the very beginning that were then corrected by their team manager. So it seemed he was pretty hasty in the way he went about it, which then loses him credibility in that matter. But I think challenging RDU for $10,000 is pretty absurd because Reynad obviously has a good bit of money considering he streams full time and he's a professional. But for somebody like RDU who's just coming onto the scene to win $10,000, I could never actually see him then going and putting that $10,000 on the line just for somebody who's a little butthurt that he lost. Just doesn't. What do you think about it, Dawson?
Um, I think $10,000, that's a lot of money, and RDU probably did. RDU actually accept the challenge, or has he?
Well, he actually responded with a little sly retort. I believe he said that he would play Reynad for the money when Reynad won a tournament that wasn't his own, implying the arena tournament that they just hosted. So I mean, he did take a shot back, and I think Reynad also he receded the $10,000 challenge, and he went ahead with a $1,000 challenge. I believe Seuss, was that what he ended up going with? I think it was $1,000. He changed it to, and it would be to a charity of Reynad's choice if he won, and then he would also get the DreamHack Cup. So, I mean, I just think that he was a little salty about the whole event, and he's just trying to like make up for it with a little bit of like EPing. But
I don't think it was
overall, I
well
think,
thought out though. Like he keeps changing his minds. Like now he wants
well, yeah,
10K, 1K, the trophy.
it was very, very well, not well thought out at all. I mean, like I said, he was very rash with his accusations in the very beginning, and then he had to recede them because the original one, I think he said, was that it revolved around the Fan of Knives when the Aggro Warrior matchup, and he said that RDU unplugged his headphones so that he could hear the crowd and their reaction to it. But it turns out that he actually. By the time that the Fan of Knives was kept, it actually didn't have any impact on the game because he couldn't have heard anything at that point. So then Reynad had to go back and be like, okay, well, sorry about that one, but here's the rest of the stuff. It seems like it was just a very rash decision. I don't think for somebody of his stature that it was really necessary for him to just go and attack RDU in such a way. But I mean, I do give him credit in terms of speaking his mind, which is something he has always done. I just think he kind of went about it the wrong way.
People like
Now,
drama. I think it's probably not like an awful thing for the game. People like it.
well, yeah. I mean, what do you think in terms of the community? Like, how is that for Hearthstone? Like, do you think that we need more drama and kind of like people picking sides, like cheering on their quote unquote like favorite player or team? Do you think that overall is better for Hearthstone at this time when it's still trying to build up?
I don't think it's a bad thing.
Yeah. I mean, I think it can be bad, but I think overall, I think the negatives get outweighed by the positive in terms of just the talking that it gets going. Everybody's talking about it, and then somebody from another game might see it because it was the big DreamHack event, and then they're like, "Oh, hey, let me check out Hearthstone." So, like, I think it's good, in that regard. What do you think, Dawson? Do you think it's good for the community as a whole?
I don't know. It seems kind of like what we were saying, how the negative is overweighing the positive. It seems that it's just, I don't know. It doesn't seem very good because drama can. It seems just, I don't know. It seems. Trying to think.
Do you think it's overall? So you think that the drama is it doesn't overweigh the positives that it brings?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, yeah. I mean, I can see your viewpoint on that as well. Overall, I think the topic is it's very interesting. I think it definitely keeps people on the edge of their seats because you have people like Kriparian going and making a video just on that specifically, and that's when it's reached the point where pretty much everybody in the community is talking about it. But I guess we'll see how it plays out from here on. I'm not sure if we'll get any more comments from the two. It might have died down. But that leads us right into our next topic, however, though, with Naxx. Now, there's been some new leaks that have occurred. I don't know if it was intended to kind of draw hype from Blizzard's side, but I think it was just actually like a legit leak that wasn't supposed to happen. And the new cards that they revealed are actually very interesting. And anyone who's played WoW and went through the Naxx instance would definitely be familiar with these cards. But it's Fugan and Stalag, which are the dogs that Thaddeus has at the raid instance. And what they do is if Stalag dies in the same game, his death rattle says that Thaddeus then comes out. So that each of them has to die. Now the question is though, what is Thaddeus going to bring to the table? Considering I think they're going to take it from a lore aspect, and he had positive and negative charges. So I feel like we might get like a random effect coming from Thaddeus. What do you think, Siuss?
I guess. I mean, what did Thaddeus do in WoW? He
Well, I believe it was a positive and negative charge thing. It was like the raid had to switch from side to side, and I feel like they might
so maybe
incorporate
Thaddeus
some
will
type
switch sides.
See, that would actually be very interesting, like a different kind of Sylvanas in a way. I mean, you look at each of the minions; they're 5 drops and they're complete opposites. You have Fugan at a 4/7, and you have Stalag at a 7/4. So I mean, you figure Thaddeus has got to be like really husky of a damage and health wise. I feel like it's going to be potentially a game changing minion. I just don't know how difficult it will be to get Fugan and Stalag to each die so that you can get Thaddeus out. It does seem very like conditional as to whether or not it will set off. What do you think, Dawson?
I don't know. It seems like that. It seems very strong. The combo, if you can get this off, like imagine the new card Rebirth and Ancestral Healing. If you could get this off, you could summon Thaddeus twice and then bring back Fugan, right?
Yeah, I believe that's how it would work. I agree with you in the fact that it's combo-y, and I think it's almost going to be like a Deathwing card in terms of like it's going to be really really good if you get it off, but I think it's going to be a little too difficult to pull off at this time.
Yeah, because someone could silence it or do anything in that nature to just stop the combo completely, and it takes a lot of mana to do it in general. So
yeah, that's why I'm curious if there's going to be other support cards revolving around it, but it's definitely an interesting card choice that they've decided to throw in. And I believe these were the only 2 cards that came out of the most recent leak. I don't know. I'm really not sure how it's going to play out, but it definitely is going to bring some interesting new cards to the game. Now, they also just released the Hunter card as well, Webspinner. Now, there's been a lot of talk about this card because initially, I believe that they thought that it would pull a card from the deck. And what ended up happening was they said that it would just be any random beast. So, at that point, you can get anything from, Oasis Snapjaw to a King Crush. So I think the randomness of it is actually not going to be that strong in constructed. What are your thoughts on the card, Siuss?
Seems awful. Probably unplayable.
Yeah. Oh, I think in Arena it might be playable. I think Arena it could be viable, but in constructed I just think it's complete garbage compared to some of the other cards that we've seen come out for the class specifics. Like the new priest card, for example, is actually like extremely strong. And then for them to just give Hunter something like this, especially after the nerf to Unleash the Hounds,
it's
seems
disgusting.
Like, yeah, it doesn't seem like they want to give Hunter a bone at this point. But
yeah, like Hunter was very very strong, and then when they made it so the Unleash was 3 mana, made it so it was even, but when they chuck a card, they're making very strong cards for other classes that kind of need that boost. But when I guess they don't want people, freaking out about new cards because Hunter was already overpowered, almost maybe even overpowered with the Unleash at one point. But I think it's maybe they can make it at least playable when constructed.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, I figure you'd at least make it doesn't have to be broken by any means. Just make it playable. I feel like that card. I mean, it obviously has synergy with the other death rattles, but I mean that alone isn't going to make it a card that you're going to play. I mean, it is a beast as well too, but I just think overall it's a really garbage card to give to Hunter, especially at this point in time. Um, but actually, that's going to lead right into the deck of the day that we want to talk about. Is well, it's a control Hunter build, and it's a little different than most of the stuff that you usually would see on the ladder. Usually you'll see like Hunter Rush, and then you'll see the mid-range build that Reynad and Reynad made pretty popular through playing in tournaments, but originally it was like a life coach Kalento build. But this one is actually very interesting. It doesn't utilize Unleash the Hounds or Buzzard or anything like that. It's like a strict control deck, but it uses Secret Keeper, which is very interesting because that card has been kind of like, shoot away previously as not being that strong. And I think in this build, it's actually a force to be reckoned with. What do you think on the deck, Siuss? Have you actually played against it?
Never played against it, and I don't get it. What's this trying to do? And is it trying to do something better than another deck would?
Well, I mean, I think that it's trying to play the control game, and that's something that usually Hunter is obviously not known for. But what they utilize this synergetic wise is they use the Secret Keeper with the 2 snipes and the 2 freezings and the 2 explosives. So I mean, you have the snipe in there, which automatically is going to give you a benefit in the Miracle Rogue matchup. You have the explosive traps, which give you the a way to deal with rush decks and zoo and that kind of thing. But I think where the real key lies is the Wild Pyro Hunter's Mark combo. It gives you an extra board clear, and you can also use it with Arcane Shot. It just obviously doesn't work as well. However, I think that this deck has a chance to catch people off guard, because whenever somebody sees Hunter, they expect rush or mid-range. Nobody really expects anything like this. So I think just the sheer surprise factor is what may make it successful, at least in the early stages on the ladder. I mean, it also has Senjins. It has a lot of ways to deal with the fast pace of the meta that we've been seeing lately, although it has slowed down a little bit. And then it finishes with Rag and Baron-Geddon. So again, it has way to clear the board through Wild Pyro, Hunter's Mark, Baron-Geddon, and Explosive Trap. So it's really strong against those early aggressive decks if you can, mulligan properly and get the cards out. I mean, have you ever seen this, Dawson? What do you think of it?
I have faced it, and I have lost to it. It can be very difficult to face, especially when you're playing some kinds of aggro decks. Also, interesting fact is apparently there is a glitch that has gone on where you play Acolyte of Pain, Wild Pyromancer, and then Tracking, and then there's a whole card glitch, and then it disconnects the opponent.
Yes, I did see that. I think that's kind of taken the community by storm in the last week and caused a lot of controversy as people were obviously abusing the bug. I'm not sure if it has been fixed at this point. What do you know of that, Siuss?
I know nothing.
Yeah, I haven't played in the last couple of days, so I've been rather fortunate enough to avoid running into it. But I mean, it's a shame for people that are playing the deck the real way, and then they might get viewed as, oh, they're just trying to glitch it out. But to it, Dawson, what deck were you playing against, or were you using when you played against it?
I was kind of like throwing around some decks, kind of trying out different things, and I was playing my Murloc deck, and Murlocs lost, and it was a very tough matchup with the freezing trap and stuff. Yeah, especially with like I think it's the Tide Caller. Yeah, that was very hard.
I can see where you'd have a little bit of difficulty with Murlocs when you go up against this. It's pretty much like an anti-Murloc deck when you look at it. It just has so many ways to clear board. The Wild Pyro essentially is really what I think makes the deck very strong. But we'll see how it plays out. I've actually played against it on the ladder twice. I played different versions of it. I've faced it using Hunter Rush, and I actually was able to secure victories in both games. However, it definitely gives Hunter, the regular Rush version, a run for its money just because of the Senjins and the fact that they can just throw out minions every turn, which is obviously something that Hunter has a difficult time dealing with. All right, so moving on, meta-wise, you said, Dawson, you said that you saw that deck on the ladder. What have you been running into lately at your rank? And if you want to tell the viewers, what rank you're at and what you may have been, running into the most lately.
So right now I am at rank 3, and I am trying to advance into rank 2. And I keep on facing Miracle Rogue, and now I'm playing Dark's Pirates deck. If you don't know what that is, it is a very fun aggro deck. But anyway, so I've been facing lots of Miracle, lots of Zoo, very tough matchups, very strong meta down there. It is very tough. Just keep on getting stopped. It's a huge roadblock at rank 3 because of those matchups. I have lost a couple matchups because of Shadow Step. The
Leroy combo.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
and also the healing combo.
Yeah, I can see where you might run into some trouble with the Earthen Ring, getting off the extra heals. That's one of the main things that when if you're playing Pirate or you're playing like a Hunter Rush deck, for them to get the Shadow Step on the Earthen Ring, even just once or twice, can be game breaking. So I definitely see where you're coming from there. Have you seen any decks that kind of out of the blue, something you had never seen before, or has it just mostly been the standard as you've been climbing?
That Hunter deck, I was very surprised. I was knocked off my feet. I was like, whoa, what is this? I am so confused. Why is he playing some of these cards? And my friend actually played it and got the glitch, and that wasn't fun. But I don't think that person, because he friended him and said, like, what happened? And he said, there's this bug, and I try not to do it, but, I feel like he's lying.
It sounds like he might be. I mean, so Siuss, what have you been running to on your ladder climb? Is it mostly the same as Dawson, just a lot of Miracle and Druid at the ranks right now?
I see a good mix, but the one thing I don't see that I've noticed is an absence of handlock. For whatever reason,
Really?
it doesn't seem that popular. I've seen everything else, just not handlock.
See, and that's interesting because I mean, with Hunter, quote unquote, being at the bottom of the barrel right now, you would expect to see a rise in handlock. I mean, it has at least decent matchups in terms of against Miracle and Druid. It may not be amazing or anything, but I mean the one like pure anti handlock deck in Hunter is pretty much gone. It's something you wouldn't expect to see, at least at this point in time. I mean, what have you been using to climb the ladder? Have you been just rotating between decks, or has there been something that you found works better against the massive decks that we're seeing right now? Because it's the meta is as diverse as it's ever been.
I usually just jump around. I mean,
yeah.
If I get frustrated, I'll just default to Zoo and play with that for a while. But Shaman, Druid, handlock,
just the usual.
A little bit of everything.
Yeah, I mean, I've found that it's mostly been a lot of Miracle and a lot of Druid where I've been at, and other than that, I really haven't seen. There's barely any Paladin, barely any Hunter, barely any Priest. The Freeze Mage deck hasn't risen in popularity like I thought it would. I know it's obviously a rather difficult deck to play in terms of in comparison to other decks right now. But I expected to see more Freeze Mage than Aggro Mage, and I'm actually seeing a lot more Aggro than Freeze, which is something that I wasn't expecting. I'm currently playing Hunter, and I wanted to put a second Flare in the deck just to kind of counter Freeze Mage, but I can't even justify it right now because I'm not seeing enough to make it worth it. I mean, have you guys really been seeing a lot of Freeze Mage since RDU won DreamHack?
Not really. No one knows how to play it.
Yeah, I'd agree with Siuss that I faced a couple, and I've won every match. I haven't lost a game because it seems like they don't play it correctly. I notice mistakes. They're not playing it very well. They're doing stuff at random points of time just because other things like that.
Yeah, it is definitely one of those decks that requires a little more intricate thinking than people give it credit for. It mostly comes down to the Doomsayer plays and knowing when to stop your opponent's tempo so that you can swing it in your favor. I just overall I expected to see more, but I guess at the higher ranks it's something that within like the top 50, from what I've heard, it's actually prominent there. But I guess it's something that over time will get more popular, I guess, as people learn how to play it. But yeah, I think that about wraps up everything that we have to talk about today, guys. Is there any shout-outs that you have before we finish up, Siuss?
Shout out to Frozen, who
yes, our good buddy Frozen, who has
graced us with his happy presence.
Yes, as you guys can see, he's a cheery snowman today, but he did not make it in time. How about you, Dawson?
I have a shout out to my friend Zach. He's been helping me out a lot. I'd like to say thank you, and yeah.
Awesome. All right. Well, I will shout out to Gamon Gaming and Frozen's Snowman. Also, I should be streaming my ladder climb directly after the show. So if you guys want to head over and check that out, it's just twitch.tv/Lumia the Hunter, and we'll be doing some legend ladder climbing and trying to bust into the top 16 this season. So that's going to wrap it up. Stay tuned for number 8 next week, same time, and we will catch you guys then. Have a good one.
See ya.